welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing, an inside look at foster care and adoption needs in Connecticut. My name is Jacqueline Ford. I am humbled and honored to have worked for the Department of Children and Families for over 25 years, and although I may be familiar with many of the topics I bring to you, I am inviting guests, experts in those fields to share their knowledge. It is my hope that each week I can help to dispel those myths and misconceptions that often act as barriers to finding homes for Connecticut children. Joining us in our studio is Sheena Infante Davis, a culinary college student, and Dasani, a Heart Gallery teen who is hoping to find a forever family. The Heart Gallery is a collection of photographs and stories and videos that celebrate children in foster care who are looking for and deserve a forever family. In my role as the Heart Gallery coordinator, I had the privilege of meeting Dasani a few weeks ago, and when I heard her share her life story, I knew that I needed to introduce Dasani and Sheena. We have a show that brings two lives full circle. Both will be an inspiration to all of our viewers. Sheena, who's now 25 years old and attending culinary school, was a foster child just like Dasani is now, and was adopted as a teen. Sheena is an example of hope, perseverance, and resilience, and has a true understanding of Dasani's needs to find a forever family. I am so grateful to know Sheena. She is a vessel and a conduit in the work that I do, and I feel privileged to know her. She keeps it real for me, and these two impressive young people love to cook. So hello, Sheena and Dasani. Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
When I heard you talk last week, I said I need to introduce you to Sheena when you talked about your love for cooking. So I'm glad that you could both be here today. Sheena, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am 25 years old. I go to Gateway Community College, and my passion is to be a professional baker one day, and I was adopted at 15 years old. So I'm here now.
Yeah. So you understand how Dasani's feeling. How many foster care placements had you had before you found your forever family?
So I've been through 8 to 9 foster home replacements, and at the age of 15, I was put into a permanent home, and a year later, I was adopted.
And I've had the pleasure of knowing you for several years, and
yes,
many times you have told me that you wish there was an active Heart Gallery back when you were in care,
yes,
because you feel that you may have been able to find a home quicker and you wouldn't have had to have so many placements. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's wonderful that you two are meeting today and have a real understanding of what each one is going through or has gone through. Mm-hmm. So tell me about your love to cook. Did someone inspire you to want to learn how to cook or bake?
So I was placed in one of my foster homes. I had a foster mother, and she always did like baking and cooking on the side. She was in the nursing field, so she would also always be in the kitchen, wanted to be more hands-on. I was teaching. During the holiday times, we'll do like cakes, cupcakes. I would frost them. I would do candy molds. Mm-hmm. So that was always like fun and a way to be creative. So I like that a lot.
So she inspired you?
Yes.
And what made you decide that you wanted to focus more on being a bakery chef than
a pastry chef?
A pastry chef.
I think it's more of a way to be creative. I like sweets. So I always think, that one day that my baking will touch other people and they'll love it as well as much as I love it. And it's just a way to be artistic.
Well, you definitely have an artistic ability, because I've seen some of your work and I've tasted some of your desserts and they're delicious.
Thank you.
So I think that you're well on your way. Dasani, so when did you first learn to cook or inspired to cook?
I first learned when I was living home with my mom and dad. Mm-hmm. My mom was always in the kitchen, and I just always liked being in the kitchen just to make noise.
Yeah.
And then eventually, as I got older, I began to just start figuring out things myself. Like my middle school, we had culinary, and so from middle school, I began to just cook on my own, like all the meals I would cook by myself.
You would, and you would serve those to your family?
Yes.
And did everyone love what you made?
They did. They was impressed that a 12, 13-year-old can do that.
Wow. And would you make up your own recipes? based
No.
on? No, you would follow
I
recipes?
definitely follow a recipe.
Well, that's okay. That's good because everyone can add their own flair to a recipe.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's great. So I think right now we're going to go over to the kitchen and get started. So let's go bake.
Okay. I like to swim. I can sing. I can dance. 3 words to describe me would be athletic, cool, funny. The perfect Saturday would be me waking up to take a shower, and if I'm not going to work, then I'm going to play basketball or hanging out with friends. I'm a big sports fan, so I play volleyball, basketball, and softball. So on the weekends, I'm a Patriots fan, so on Sundays I like to watch football. First subject is math. I just like dealing with numbers. When I get out of college, I like to be an accountant in the morning and a basketball coach by night. The coolest thing I ever done would be me getting my first job on my own. When I did my first interview, one of the managers were really cool. They said that I had a bubbly personality, and I think that's a great fit for the job. Qualities I look for in people just in general is they're trustworthy, they're good listeners. I'd rather associate myself with people who are like they go to school, they go to class, like we're both like type of friends, like they'll push each other to do the right thing and to make the right choices. If they do drugs or like they're violent, I just don't do that. That's a no-no. I'm pretty much always happy, unless I'm having a bad day. But then I always find a way to like turn it around, so. Something fun to do is me? Oh boy, we're in for a treat. We'd probably go-karting, paintball fighting. One thing I would definitely like to do would be hopping off an airplane. I would go bungee jumping over the Grand Canyon.
So here we are in the kitchen with Sheena and Dasani, and we're going to be making a
Stovetop apple crisp.
apple crisp.
For two.
For 2 people. Okay, so let us get started. If you can walk us through the ingredients and how we make this.
So
delicious.
Dasani, we're gonna put the 2 tablespoons of earth balanced butter in there. You can use a spoon to make sure that the fire is like at least medium high. And then you're gonna add the brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and cinnamon, which is a teaspoon and a half. And just make sure you just stir it up. And then you're gonna add the vanilla extract, which is a teaspoon and a half, and then a teaspoon and a half of maple syrup as well.
Is that mixed together in that?
Yes, so they're both in there. And then we're gonna like stir everything up. Let's turn the fire up a little bit. Sorry.
So what should we have the oven set at when you're sauteing
So
this?
when you do this, you're gonna have it set for about medium high so that nothing burns. And then we're gonna add the gluten-free old-fashioned oats.
So this is a gluten-free dish as well?
Gluten-free and
good to know.
vegan. So
And vegan.
that's 3/4 of that. And then we have a 1/4 sliced almonds. You can use any type of nut that you would like. So you're gonna stir all of that together and make sure it's all like kind of clumped. So when all that's cooked in, we're gonna put it on the parchment paper.
So how long do you think that takes to
So
saute it?
just like 2 to 3 minutes, just so everything's kind of cooked and flavored all together.
Dasani, have you ever made a stovetop dessert before?
No.
No? Me neither. To have Sheena cook for us.
So maybe just turn the heat a little bit higher. So,
Which was 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're gonna cook all that up. Make sure you get it all coated in the goodness of the vanilla and the maple syrup.
So is it the longer it sautés, the more it brings out the different flavors?
Yes. So then now that it's all coated, we're gonna put it on the parchment paper.
Okay. Looks delicious. Is that the crisp part of the apple?
Yes, so that's the crisp. And then make sure you get everything on the pan and just spread it over the parchment paper.
You're gonna even it out?
Yes. So then you just put the pan back. So you can keep that pan warm so when you add the apples. So we're gonna take the 2 cups of apples and then the 2 cups of vegan butter as well, and then put that in the hot pan. The same pan, you don't have to worry about cooking, washing it. And then we're gonna take the apples, take a spoonful. Let's see. Just pick them up. I'm gonna stir this for you.
Put your hands all in this.
So don't be afraid, you can put everything in there.
That's great. This is a perfect recipe for the fall.
Yes, it is. So this is like a fall favorite of mine. I would say definitely like you can serve it with like warm, well not warm, cold ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream. Well, it will melt on the hot dish.
Yes.
That's for sure.
And then we're just gonna add all of them. So we had pre-sliced them and diced them, and we're gonna put them in the pan. Saute them. Technically, you would cover the pan so that the steam could just, soften them up and everything. And then you're gonna add that tablespoon of brown sugar and cinnamon. That's a teaspoon. You get all those apples. And then you're gonna make sure everything's coated. You're doing good.
It smells so good. I know everyone who's in our production team is smelling it and looking forward to having a try.
Looks yummy.
It does. Is this something that you make all the time for your friends and family?
Yes. So
Yes.
I actually had some last night.
You did?
It's
You
really
taste
good.
tested?
Yes, I taste tested.
That's a good dry run through it, yeah.
So it's looking good. You just want to get everything kind of like coated. Are you excited to eat it? Dasani?
Kind of. It smells really, really good. So this type of a dessert that you make, it's pretty simple because you're just using the stovetop. You don't have to use the oven or have it sit for a while. It's pretty much, how long would you say that a recipe like this would take us?
About 10 to 15 minutes. Preparation, like another 15 minutes, just cutting the apples and getting everything measured out. So it's not too bad. It's very simple to make. I feel like a very beginner can do this as well. If you're not big on bacon, this is the
Yeah,
thing
this
to
is.
bake.
This is right up my alley, that's for sure. If you're just tuning in right now, this is Sheena, who was a foster child in our Department of Children and Families system, and she is a culinary student now who had been adopted, and we're teaching Dasani, who's looking for her forever home, how to cook this yummy dish.
So, do you feel as that it's like kind of all cooked in?
It looks like it.
Yeah.
So you have to make it a little more tender, the apples.
You're gonna have you're gonna make them a little bit tender, but make sure they still have kind of like a bite to them, so you don't want them too soft. And then you're gonna grab these bowls and you're gonna spoon everything in to these bowls. Just get this out the way. So then we have our spoons, and then our choice would be Ready Whip, non-dairy. So then when you feel is that they're cooked enough, you're just gonna bowl them into the bowls.
He looks like a natural over there at the stove.
Yes.
Look like where you belong. And these great aprons were made by Sheena to personalize our kitchen segment.
So I would just start spooning them in. We're gonna turn the fire on.
That looks great.
Good.
Smells like apple pie is baking in the oven.
So So then you can put the remainder back onto the stove. You can fill the bowl however much you want. It's all in your preference. And then after we do that, we're gonna take the apple crisp that the topping that we made earlier, and put it on. You just use your hands. Just dish them onto the. They're still pretty warm, so that's good. And you're just gonna do that.
That looks great.
And here's a napkin for you. And then if you like, you can put some ready bread and just put it on there. There you go.
If you're interested in learning more about Sheena's recipes, you can visit her at Sweet Sprinkles of Love on Instagram. Sweet Sprinkles of Love by Sheena Joanne on Instagram. And we'll also have this recipe on your Instagram as well.
Yes.
And for more information about this one exceptional teen, Dasani, please visit ctfosteradopt.com, where we will have Dasani's story, and his video is there on our website. And if you'd like more information, you can also email me directly at jacqueline.ford@ct.gov. Thank you all for joining us, and let's eat.
Yes.